Part 88. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 871. Chapter 871. Don't worry, it's just a show. I hesitated for a moment, then smiled and said, I just wanted to ask if you have time. There is a scene I want to play with you. Mian was stunned. An opposite scene. Tuli's eyes flickered, looking a little unnatural. Of course, if you don't have time, forget it. Mian hesitated. Since she decided to keep a distance from Tuli, except for communication during work, she has had zero communication with him in private. In fact, if it weren't for the crazy actions of his fans, if she hadn't sensed that he might have some thoughts about her, Mian wouldn't have thought of keeping a distance from him. Because from a personal perspective, Tuli is really a male artist with very good character. Collaborating with him, Mian finds it a pleasure. She is also willing to make friends with such people. Only, she was frightened when she thought of Tuli's crazy girlfriend fans and wife fans. At this moment, Tuli said that he wanted to play with her. Speaking of which, this can be regarded as a work matter. If she refuses, will it be too obvious? In any case, Tuli did not offend her. It doesn't seem to be good if she is too distant from him. After hesitating for a moment, Mian nodded, okay. Tuli raised his head and looked at her, as if he was a little surprised. Are you willing? Mian had been alienating him before. Except for a little communication between the two when they were filming opposite scenes, in private, they were worse than strangers. Just now, he was impulsive and made such a request for a drama. I never thought she would agree. Be prepared to be rejected by her. Senior 2, it's just a show, right? Mian hesitated, and then said, can we just have a show outside? I'm afraid I'll be secretly photographed again by accident. Good. Tuli's mood suddenly improved a lot. He curled his lips, and when he smiled, stars seemed to fall in his eyes. Don't worry, it's just a show. Since you are worried about someone secretly filming, let's face it outside. Okay, then I wonder which scene Senior 2 wants to confront me about. It is very common for actors to play against each other before filming. So Mian is not too worried about someone taking pictures of her and Tuli. Since they were filming outside, it was also a work matter, so even if they were secretly photographed again, there was nothing to be afraid of. No matter how crazy his girlfriends, fans, and wife fans are, they can't even accept his normal work. At the moment, Mian only thought about Tuli's fans and completely forgot that she had a jealous person at home. So much so that when she and Tuli had another scandal later, Tuli's fans did not explode, but a certain jealousy group exploded. It took Mian a long time to coax her. Tuli and Mian were filming a scene that was going to be filmed today. Mian had watched it several times last night and was already very familiar with the plot and lines. The two read the script once and then started to work on it. Tuli looks like an idol, and he looks like a popular male artist who relies on his face to make a living. But in fact, not only is he good looking, his strength cannot be underestimated. Mian has acted opposite him and already has a certain understanding of his strength. The powerful party scene with Tuli is actually a kind of enjoyment, and it also allows her to learn a lot. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 872. Chapter 872. She came with bad intentions. Mian is very spiritual in acting and has high understanding, but she is a newcomer after all, and she still has some shortcomings in her acting skills. Tuli will point out her shortcomings and teach her how to perform better. After finishing several scenes, Mian felt that there were some things that were not smooth last night, but now she can perform smoothly and naturally. and the suggestions Tu Yuli gave her were very useful. She benefited a lot from these dialogues. After it was over, she thanked Tu Yul sincerely. Senior Tu, thank you. I originally thought there were 2 places to stop last night, and I didn't know how to perform it. Those 2 suggestions of yours were very helpful to me. It really works. Tu Yuli looked at her with bright and clear eyes, a soft smile in his eyes. That's because you are originally smart and have high comprehension ability. Otherwise, no matter how much I say, it will be useless. Speaking of which, I should also thank you and finish talking to you. I feel a lot more confident about today's filming. Can I play with you in the future? When Tu Yuli said this, the hand hanging by his side tightened. There was a trace of nervousness and a trace of expectation in his eyes. Xiao Mian thought for a moment and nodded. Yeah, sure. A smile overflowed from Tu Yuli's eyes. Okay, if you want to play with me in the future, you can also come to me. Miss Xiao, can I ask you a question? What? Are you really Director Bai's cousin? Tu Yuli was quite curious about this matter. He didn't believe it completely like others. He still had some doubts in his heart. Xiao Mian had already discussed it with Bai Yisheng last night, so after hesitating for a few seconds, she nodded. Well, he is my cousin. What's wrong? Tu Yuli had an inquiring look in his eyes. He was silent for a while, then curled his lips and said, It's nothing, I'm just surprised. However, you and Director Bai look a bit alike. He just said it casually, but Xiao Mian was stunned for a moment. Before Nana said that she and Bai Yisheng looked alike, now, Tu Yuli also said the same. Xiao Mian herself didn't pay much attention to it. Are she and Bai Yisheng really similar? She couldn't help but asked, Do you think Brother Bai and I look alike? Tu Yuli glanced at her again, his heartbeat was a little fast. He quickly looked away and said, Well, your eyes and noses are quite similar. Brother Tu, Miss Xiao. At this time, Tu Yuli's assistant came over, glanced at Xiao Mian first, and then whispered a few words into Tu Yuli's ear. Tu Yuli's face changed slightly and his brows furrowed. He said to his assistant, I understand, I'll be there right away. After the assistant left, Tu Yuli frowned and looked at Xiao Mian with worry in his eyes. You, just stay here for a while, don't go there for now. Xiao Mian was stunned. Why? Tu Yuli's brows tightened again, and his expression was not pretty. Huang Yilin is here and she said she came to see you. She comes with bad intentions. If you go to see her now, I'm afraid she will do something bad to you. Tu Yuli has a lot of dirty information about Huang Yilin. He had threatened Huang Yilin that if he caused trouble for Xiao Mian again, he would release the dirty information. However, not long after he finished his threat, he discovered that someone had already released all kinds of negative information about Huang Yilin before him. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 873. Chapter 873. The wall fell and everyone pushed it. The black materials were more complete, more explosive, and more capable of killing Huang Yilin than what he had found. He asked people to investigate who released the black material. But his people searched for a long time and could not find out who was the person who leaked the dirty information. The only thing that is clear is that the person who leaked the scandal must be venting his anger on Xiao Mian. Huang Yilin must also know that the person who leaked the scandal is helping Xiao Mian. So, when she came to the set today, she definitely came with bad intentions. She definitely came to the set to cause trouble for Xiao Mian. Tu Yuli was worried that it would be unsafe for her to go there now. Xiao Mian also thought of this. She knows best in her heart why Huang Yilin was exposed by those scandalous materials. Since those black materials were exposed, the hot searches have not been removed yet. Moreover, the account that broke the news today has exposed some new black information. It can be said that Huang Yilin's character has been completely stretched. There is absolutely no way to clean it up. No matter how hard her fans try to turn the tide, it's useless. Because the evidence provided by the revelations is very sufficient, and the various videos taken are also very clear, and not only the videos and audios are used as evidence, but some so-called colleagues have also opened trumpets to expose a lot of Huang Yilin's black materials. For example, because she is the number one sister in the company, she is arrogant and domineering, bullying newcomers and so on. For another example, she slept with many young girls in the circle, including even one who was underage. Originally, many people in the industry dislike Huang Yilin. But when she didn't have the accident, it was true that no one could easily touch her. So generally no one dares to provoke her, for fear of being retaliated by her. But it's different now. Everyone can see that the person who engaged Huang Yilin this time must have a very powerful background. Otherwise, Huang Yilin would have found someone to suppress the negative information, and the hot search would not still be ranked first on the Weibo hotspot list. This obviously means offending someone who shouldn't be offended. This time, no one can help her, and she will probably die. The so-called wall falls and everyone pushes it down. Before, we were concerned about the power behind her, and no one dared to offend her. Now that she is about to get cold, who else will be afraid of her? Suddenly, many so-called insider accounts appeared on Weibo. In short, Huang Yilin's black material is one after another, and the hotspots are non-stop 24 hours a day. Although it is not completely cool yet, it is only a few days away from being completely cool. If something like this happened to her, all the advertising contracts she had signed before would probably be terminated. If the contract is terminated for her reasons, she will have to pay the termination fee. Huang Yilin signed all kinds of endorsements with various big names, and each termination fee was at least tens of millions. If she paid them off one by one, she could lose all her net worth. She must be living a miserable life now. If the black material found is related to Qiao Mian, I must have come here to cause trouble for her. Qiao Mian knew the seriousness of the matter, but did not take it lightly. She nodded and said, "Yes, I understand. Then you stay here first, I'll go over and take a look." Tu Yuli turned around and was about to leave. After taking 2 steps, he turned around and told her again worriedly, "Remember, don't go over there yet. I'll go take a look what's the situation." After giving the instructions again, Tu Yuli turned around and left. Asterisk. Qiao Mian stood there for more than 10 minutes. When she was wondering if Huang Yilin had left, she suddenly heard footsteps approaching her. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 874. Chapter 874. Soon, your fate will be the same as mine. Huang Yilin, stop, do you hear me? If you do this again, I'll call the security guard. Qiao Mian raised her head and saw Huang Yilin and her agent walking towards her. Huang Yilin sneered as she walked away, "Tu Yuli, are you even going to lie to me? I asked before I came here. Qiao Mian came to the set today. Why, you are so afraid that I will find her? Do you think I will? Did you do anything bad to her? You have seen that I have become so miserable now, what else can I do to her? Don't worry, how dare I offend her now? It's because of her that I became so miserable. Do you think she is really a newcomer with no background and can be bullied by others?" Tu Yuli caught up with her and frowned, "What do you mean?" Huang Yilin turned her head to look at him and said with hatred in her eyes, "Do you know whose handiwork it is that I have become so miserable now? Oh, I really underestimated her. I thought she was in love with Bai Yusheng. But who knew that the golden thigh she held was even more powerful than Bai Yusheng? Tu Yuli, I advise you, don't have those thoughts that you shouldn't have. This woman is not something you can imagine. You have also seen how miserable I am now. If the financial backer behind her knows these thoughts of yours, soon, your fate will be the same as mine. Oh, no, it might be worse than me. If you dare to think about that man's woman, it would be too easy to ban you. Tuyuli, I knew that Jiao Mian was nearby. So after hearing Huang Yilin say these words, he frowned and said with a slightly gloomy face, Huang Yilin, what are you talking about? She and I have a normal relationship as friends, so don't talk nonsense. Normal friendship, Huang Yilin sneered, you can just deceive your underage fans with your words. Do you think I will believe it? I am kindly reminding you because we have known each other for a while. If you still want to continue in the entertainment industry and still want your career, don't get too close to her. Isn't my current ending a warning enough for you? At this point, Huang Yilin twitched her lips in a self-deprecating tone. Who would have thought that she would embrace such a thick golden thigh, but only get a female number 3? I must have made a mistake this time, and ended up like this. I asked for it too. It is not an easy task to get a female lead after being with someone from the Mo family. No matter how bad it is, you can still get the second female lead. How could she have imagined that a woman who fell in love with the Mo family would only get the third female title? If she had known from the beginning that the backer behind Xiao Mian was someone from the Mo family, given her 10 courages, she would not dare to touch her. The person you are talking about is. Tuyuli, I thought of the man he had met twice, and his face changed slightly. The first time he saw the man, he realized that he was an extraordinary person. However, Huang Yilin could be destroyed so easily and still make her so fearful, which shows that the man's identity may be much more powerful than he imagined. It's not like he hasn't asked someone to investigate before. However, for the first time, his information network could not find out the identity of the man. From what Huang Yilin said, does she know the identity of that man? Huang Yilin pursed her lips and was silent for a few seconds. A trace of fear appeared in her eyes, as if just mentioning that person's name would make her fearful. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 875. Chapter 875. I just want to ask her to let me live. Her lips moved and her voice trembled. You don't need to know who he is. In short, you just need to know that he is a person who can easily destroy us. Tuyuli, I frowned slightly, and seeing that she refused to say anything, he stopped asking any more. What do you want to do with Jiao Mian? I said, I'm not here to cause trouble for her. Huang Yilin's face darkened and she said in an unhappy tone, now, I just want to beg her to let me live. Tuyuli, you are just like me. The unknown newcomer has worked hard step by step to get to where he is today, so you can definitely understand how I feel now, right? I can't lose everything I have now. If my career is gone, my whole life will be lost. Life is gone. Tuyuli, I frowned and looked at her. Yes, I can understand your mood. But when you did those things, did you ever think about her mood? If she is just a newcomer with no background, if no one is willing to help her, do you know that her career might be ruined? Huang Yilin was stunned for a moment, and her expression was a little ugly. Are you talking for her? Yes, I admit that what I did before was not very good, but she was the one who provoked me. If she just acted her role peacefully, I would be guilty. Do you want to do anything to her? Tuyuli, I was originally a little sympathetic to her current situation. Hearing what she said, the little sympathy in my heart was gone. He shook his head and sighed softly. What you mean by provoking you is that you think Bai Yusheng has a crush on her? Not to mention that she and Bai Yusheng are not the kind of relationship you thought at all. Even if they are, Bai Yusheng wants to, it's his freedom to like whoever he likes. Why does it become Jiao Mianmian's fault? Did she force Bai Yusheng to like her? Why don't you think it's Bai Yusheng's fault? To put it bluntly, you just think Jiao Mianmian is a newcomer and easy to bully. Therefore, you can only take your anger out on her. Huang Yilan's thoughts were exposed by her, and she suddenly became a little angry. Tu Yili, you still dare to say that you are not interested in her? You have always defended her and helped her speak up. When have you ever helped other female artists like this? Do you think that if you help her like this, she will be grateful to you and like you? Yes, your conditions are indeed very good for many women. But, how can you compare with the financial backer behind her? Tu Yili, I advise you to give up. If she follows a man like that, it will be impossible for her to do it again. Consider yours. It turns out that Miss Huang felt that I was not peaceful enough, so she taught me a lesson. However, I really want to ask in person, what exactly did Miss Huang think that I was restless and offended you? The moment Jiao Mianmian's voice sounded behind them, Huang Yilan and Tu Yili's expressions changed. Seeing her coming, Tu Yili frowned and immediately walked towards her. Walking in front of her, he lowered his head and whispered with disapproval, "Didn't I tell you? Why did you?" Jiao Mianmian raised her head and looked at him. "Senior Tu, I just thought about it and decided that I should solve my own problems. I can't avoid her all the time. Besides, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm afraid what is she doing?" After saying that, she turned around and walked towards Huang Yilan. Seeing her, Huang Yilan's expression changed again, and there was a flash of hatred in his eyes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 876. Chapter 876. I don't accept your apology. But remembering the purpose of her coming here today, she held back her hatred and took the initiative to greet Jiao Mianmian. "Miss Jiao, can I talk to you?" Jiao Mianmian looked at her expressionlessly. "I guess we have nothing to talk about." When did Huang Yilan suffer from a newcomer? She wanted to have a fit on the spot, but she was still not overwhelmed by the anger and knew what she was doing here today. She took a deep breath, clenched her fists, and said in a low tone, "Miss Jiao, I'm here to apologize to you. I did something wrong before, please forgive me. I was impulsive and did something wrong to you. I actually regretted the bad thing at the time and wanted to apologize to you. In short, I hope you can forgive me this time. I know that you are generous and kind-hearted, and you will not care about me." Huang Yilan endured the shame and strong hatred, and gave the agent to the agent in advance. She typed up the draft and memorized it. She said she knew she was wrong. But there was no regret in her eyes. There was deep hatred in her eyes. How humble and condescending her current attitude is, the stronger her hatred for Jiao Mianmian is. If it weren't for her career, how could she apologize to this little bitch? She has never hated anyone in all her years in the industry. But now, she hates Jiao Mianmian. She wished this would die immediately. Because of this bitch, she now has a bad reputation and has become a joke in the eyes of many people. It is like a rat crossing the street, everyone shouts to beat it. Those producers' wives led people to surround her every day, so scared that she didn't even dare to go home. She had been staying in different hotels in the past few days. When has she ever been in such a mess? It's not because of Jiao Mianmian, a bitch. She just broke a scandal about her, and this actually wanted to kill her. Ms. Huang, I think you made a mistake. Looking at Huang Yilan's unrepentant eyes, Jiao Mianmian curled her lips and said in an indifferent voice, "I am not generous at all, and I am not kind at all. So I'm afraid I will let Miss Huang down." I think there is a saying that is very good: if an apology is useful, why do you need the police? I'm afraid I can't forgive Ms. Huang. Xiao Mian knew very well what consequences would happen to people like Huang Yilin if they forgave her. She can't really know her fault, nor can she be grateful for her forgiveness. She will only hate her more. Because just when she said those words of apology, Xiao Mian had already seen hatred in her eyes. A person who hates her has to bow his head in front of her and apologize to her. I'm afraid that at this moment, Huang Yilin hates her even more. Since she can't change her hatred for herself even if she doesn't forgive him, then why does she need to be a virgin? What's more, if she forgives Huang Yilin, wouldn't everything Mo Yesi do for her be in vain? Huang Yilin opened her eyes wide, as if she couldn't believe it. What did you say? Xiao Mian looked directly into her eyes and said word by word, I don't accept your apology. As Senior 2 said, if no one helps me, I may be finished because of the scandal. Just say it casually. If you apologize, I have to forgive you and just pretend that nothing happened. Also, Miss Huang is a Best Actress winner after all. Even if she comes to apologize unwillingly, she should at least act sincerely when apologizing. Why force herself if she is so unwilling? Ah, I am so exhausted today. I ran around outside all day and picked up a kitten and brought it home. The new kitten is called Menki. Yes, the name is the name of the fat chinchilla in King Pesticide. I think it is very cute. There are 2 more chapters to be updated in the morning. Happy weekend everyone. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 877. Chapter 877, If you are going to die, let's die together. It feels uncomfortable for you to say it, and it feels uncomfortable for me to see it. Huang Yilin looked at her in astonishment. After a few seconds, his face darkened. Xiao Mian, so you won't let me go? Xiao Mian said coldly, I also want to let you go, but I don't want to regret myself. Do you have to do things so absolutely? Huang Yilin seemed to be irritated and shouted angrily, a little out of control, ruining my career and ruining my life. You are satisfied? Xiao Mian, how can you so cruel? Am I ruthless? Xiao Mian found it funny. Miss Huang should know one thing, I won't offend others unless they offend me. Miss Huang and I had no enmity in the first place, but the development to this point was all caused by Miss Huang. Miss thinks I'm cruel, so when you tried to destroy me, didn't you think you were cruel too? It's just for Tat. Huang Yilin gritted her teeth, so, you won't let me go no matter what, right? Xiao Mian curled her lips. Miss Huang is joking. It's not that I won't let you go, it's that you did things yourself without leaving a way out for yourself. If you haven't done some things, others won't be able to dig out the so-called dirty information. So it's not so much that I refuse to let you go, it's more that you hurt yourself. I have to work for a while. If Miss Huang has nothing else to do, I'll excuse you. After Xiao Mian finished speaking, she didn't want to get entangled with her anymore, so she turned around and wanted to leave. Huang Yilin looked at her back as she was about to leave, and the last hope in her heart was crushed. Despair, anger, and hatred surged into her heart at the same time. If Xiao Mian refused to let her go, then she would not even have the last chance to turn around. She will be completely driven into the abyss of despair. From now on, you will not be able to stand up. All her beauty and glory are gone. She will become everyone's joke and a pitiable creature in everyone's eyes. She will become a complete tragedy. Her life will never see a glimmer of light from now on, and will forever be plunged into endless darkness. She could imagine how tragic, terrifying, and hopeless such a life would be. She couldn't bear it even for a minute. Since Xiao Mian wanted to ruin her life and make her suffer for the rest of her life, she couldn't let this live a happy life. Her life is destined to be ruined. Since you can't escape death, Let's ask someone to support you. If you are going to die, let's all die together. Chiao Mian Mian, you forced me to do this. Don't even think about it if I can't live a good life in the future. Don't you want to destroy me? Okay, then let's destroy it together, Huang Yilin said through gritted teeth. After saying this, he reached out and took out a small blue bottle from his bag, unscrewed the cap and rushed towards Chiao Mian Mian. There was strong hatred in her eyes. You want to destroy me, right? I beg you so, but you won't let me go. You forced me to do this, you forced me to do this. By the time Chiao Mian Mian reacted, Huang Yilin had already rushed in front of her. He raised his hand and threw the liquid in the small blue bottle at her face. At that moment, Chiao Mian Mian's mind went blank, and she instinctively reached out to block her face. Someone moved faster than her. Just when Huang Yilin raised his hand and threw it at her face, she was pushed away hard. The pain she imagined did not come. She was pushed back 2 steps. As soon as she moved her hand away, she heard a sound. A high-pitched scream. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 878. Chapter 878. This will ruin your life. Chiao Mian Mian recognized that the voice was that of Tu Yuli's manager Mike. Oh my god, little Tutu. There were rapid footsteps running over, and soon, Huang Yilin's screams also sounded. Chiao Mian Mian stood firm, took her hand away in surprise, and saw a scene that shocked her. The thing that was supposed to be splashed on her face was splashed on Tu Yuli. Tu Yuli's big hand with clear joints, as white as jade, like an artist's, was red on the back. A layer of skin peeled off from the burnt skin, and blood seeped out from the wound and dripped down the back of his hand. His face showed a look of pain, but he bit his lips to endure it and did not make a sound. Mike seemed to be about to collapse. Holding his injured hand, tears suddenly flowed out. He was angry, anxious, and distressed. Little Tutu, are you crazy? Have you never thought about the consequences? Have you ever thought that this will ruin your life? You madman, madman. Do you want to me off? Oh my god, how could the injury on my hand be so serious? Come on, call 110. Little Tutu is injured, send him to the hospital quickly. What to do, so much blood has been shed, what to do? Chiao Mian Mian stared at the bleeding wound on the back of Tu Yuli's hand, her eyes widening in shock. So the person who just pushed her away and stood in front of her was Tu Yuli. Huang Yilin threw sulfuric acid on her face. She had prepared sulfuric acid early in the morning, and she must have thought that if the negotiation didn't work out, they would die together. The sulfuric acid was thrown at her face just now. Even if she reached out to cover her face, if Tu Yuli hadn't pushed her away in time to help her block the bottle of sulfuric acid, she couldn't imagine what the consequences would have been. Chiao Mian Mian never thought that Tu Yuli would stand in front of her. He is the most popular male artist with the highest traffic volume today. Even if he does not rely solely on his face to make a living, as an actor, his face is definitely very, very important. Especially for a good-looking actor like him. If your face is ruined. For ordinary people, it is a lifelong blow. Not to mention the actors who make a living in the entertainment industry. It was an unimaginably painful blow. It ruins not just your career, but your entire life. Tu Yuli must have thought of these consequences when he chose to stand in front of her. He should be able to guess what is in the blue bottle in Huang Yilin's hand. Why would he do this? Chiao Mian Mian was so shocked that she couldn't speak, and she couldn't calm down. Hunting over with Mike were the security guards of the production crew. Huang Yilin had been restrained by the security guard. She was still struggling wildly, and shouted with a ferocious face, Chiao Mian Mian, you bitch, you will be punished for being so cruel. I'm going to curse you, I'm going to curse you every moment of every day, and you're not going to end well. Ha ha ha, Tuyuli, you idiot, you actually made yourself like this for such a bitch. Do you think she will be moved and like you because of this? Stop dreaming. Your efforts are worthless. You are a fool, a huge fool. Take this crazy woman away. Mike turned around, his eyes were red, and he gritted his teeth and said, "She hurt my little Tutu, and I want her to pay the price. If you dare to hurt my little Tutu, I will make you sit in jail." Where? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 879. Chapter 879. Don't you think it's not bad enough for him? Are you blind? It wasn't me who hurt him, it was Chiao Mian. Huang Yilan's eyes were filled with strong hatred, and she looked at Chiao Mian with a look of unwillingness, and roared with a ferocious expression, "If he hadn't blocked the way in front of this bitch's face has been ruined. If he wants to meddle in his own business, he deserves it. Take her away, take her away." Hearing what she said, Mike was so angry that his whole body was shaking. "I don't want to see this crazy woman again, so take her away immediately." Several security guards dragged Huang Yilan away, who was still struggling and cursing. "Little Tutu, please bear with it. We'll go to the hospital right away." Mike looked at the back of Tuyuli's hand that was corroded by sulfuric acid, tears couldn't stop falling down, and his face was filled with distress. How could this happen? Such a thing. I haven't been here for a while. Why did you get yourself into this? You stupid bastard, if that sulfuric acid had been thrown on your face just now, do you know that your life would be over? Why don't you consider the consequences of doing things at all? If something happens to you, what do you want me to do? Tuyuli, I spent so much hard work, time, and money to get you to where you are today. You consider it for me? In your heart, am I not important at all? Mike was crying with snot and tears, which was completely different from his usual image of being smart and capable, and not panicking even if the sky fell. It can be seen that he was really frightened. I am also really distressed. Only when you are so anxious that you don't even care about your image. Chiao Mian knew that Tuyuli was hurt because of her, and she couldn't tell how guilty and self-blame she felt. Looking at the back of Tuyuli's hand, her eyes turned red. She wanted to go over and ask him how he is. Ask him, if it hurts a lot. However, as soon as she took a step towards Tuyuli, Mike suddenly turned his head, stared at her with a red face and said, "Don't come over. It's all because of you that little Tutu got hurt and made himself miserable. It's so miserable, why did you come here? Don't you think it's not bad enough for him? If it weren't for you, little Tutu wouldn't have been injured at all." Chiao Mian's steps froze as she took them. She met Mike's red and angry eyes, was silent for a moment, and said in a difficult voice, "I'm sorry." "I'm sorry," Mike said angrily. "Is it useful to say sorry? Look at what you did to little Tutu. Do you know how much impact it had on him when his hand was so seriously injured? Many of the endorsements he signed have to show his hands. If his hands, you're sorry, what's the use of it? Chiao Mian, little Tutu was hurt badly by you this time." "That's enough, Mike." The burn on the back of Tuyuli's hand was obviously very painful. His face was much pale, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He endured the pain and said in a hoarse voice, "Don't blame Miss Chiao, this has nothing to do with her. I did it myself, and there was nothing wrong with her." Mike's face turned red with anger. "At this time, you are still defending her. How could it have nothing to do with her? You blocked the disaster for her. This acid should have been poured on her. If you hadn't blocked her, would you have been hurt? The luckiest thing among misfortunes is that Tu Yuli's face was not hurt. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 880. Chapter 880. Rush to the hospital. However, just hurting one hand is still a very serious matter. For artists, every part of the body is important. Especially the face and hands are highly visible. What really makes Mike angry is not that he thinks his future interests will be affected, but that he truly feels sorry for Tu Yuli. This is an artist he has led single-handedly. Just like pulling up your own child, it took a lot of effort to pull this child up and pull it well. But suddenly something like this happened. This child values love more than anything else and doesn't even value his own body. This is what makes Mike the most angry. If you help block sulfuric acid now, what else will you help block in the future? Is it true that if Chiao Mianmian's life is in danger and he needs his help, he can even risk his own life? I said, it was my voluntary behavior. It has nothing to do with Miss Chiao Tu Yuli. I took a deep breath, endured the pain of burning, gritted his teeth and said, if you continue to speak harshly to Miss Chiao, you are forcing I'm angry with you. In that case, if I don't help, am I going to watch her throw the sulfuric acid on Miss Chiao's face? Tu Yuli raised his head and looked at Chiao Mian, who was standing not far away, unharmed. He curled his lips in relief. Fortunately, Miss Chiao is fine. The injuries on the back of his hands were worth it. Hearing him say these words, Chiao Mian suddenly felt sour in her heart. She thought that she had deliberately distanced herself from him and avoided him for various reasons. It can be said that he is very cold towards him. The relationship between them seems to be worse than that of ordinary friends. But at the critical moment, knowing the possible consequences, he still chose to stand in front of her. He blocked the disaster for her. Mike was right, the sulfuric acid should have been poured on her. The injured person should have been hers. If Tu Yuli hadn't pushed her away and stood in front of her, she wouldn't have been as unscathed as she is now. Although, it was all his voluntary behavior. But, he did help her. And she, did owe him a great debt of gratitude. She still doesn't know how to repay this kindness. Senior Tuesday. Chiao Mian felt guilty and self-blame in her heart, and she felt even more ashamed of her previous behavior. Her eyes turned slightly red and she said, I'm sorry, it's all because of me that caused you. It doesn't matter. A soft smile appeared on Tu Yuli's pale lips, but he comforted her softly. I said, I did it voluntarily. In such a situation, any man would choose to do what I did. Mike's head was filled with smoke as he listened. Any man would choose to do what I did in that situation. He doesn't count as any man. If it were him, he wouldn't risk being disfigured by doing such a stupid thing. Other men certainly won't either. Only a little fool like him would do this. He just did it. Do you think other men will be as stupid as him? He is simply a fool who has been carried away by love. He is not sure that one day he will really risk his life. Such a big movement happened here. Soon, other members of the crew also rushed over. Bai Yisheng hurriedly walked towards them. After seeing the burns on the back of Tu Yuli's hands, his face changed slightly and he said solemnly, what's going on? Why are you still standing there? Send him to the hospital quickly. End of this chapter.